Right now at 5, authorities say identifying a body found in Galena may take a bit of time.
We have a couple of alert days as we head into Thursday and Friday, with heavy rains being the main concern. Today, though, we're cloudy and mild. We'll take a look at all of it coming up.
And the city of Miami hosts a town hall meeting to help inform its residents on an upcoming vote.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It's 5 a.m. I'm Tanya Bach.
I'm Chris Warner. So we've got a decent start for us so far. We're not going to be as warm as we were yesterday. We're also tracking the concerns of heavy rain and even potentially flooding across the area. So here's what we're looking at. We've got alert days for tomorrow and for Friday. So we're looking at thunderstorms with some heavy rain. We even have some flood watches that kick in tomorrow evening and run through Friday morning. Okay, well, my little buttons here aren't working, so I'm going to step over here and just press the buttons the old-fashioned way. So here's what we're taking a look at this morning. So we've got flood watches, as you can see, for Delaware County, Benton, McDonald, and Berry counties through noon tomorrow, and these kick in tomorrow evening. And take a look at the expected rainfall amounts across the area, especially where those flood watches are. We could see anywhere 2, even 3 inches of rainfall. So this is what we've talked about. We need the rain, but getting too much all at once is not going to be good for us. Additionally, we're looking at the possibility of a strong storm or two where you see that darker green tomorrow. Again, we're not looking at widespread severe weather, but we could see a stronger storm or two with some small hail, maybe some gusty winds out there. So here is a look at the timing on the rain as we head through the day. So again, today we're pretty cloudy. We're going to be breezy to start our day, and then we'll get windy again tomorrow. Have a few scattered showers as we head through the late morning, early afternoon, and then we see showers and thunderstorms really ramp up Thursday evening and into the overnight hours. We'll get a break before we get another round of showers, thunderstorms, and some heavy rain. And with some cool temperatures, as you see, we still have the possibility of some light snow as we head into Friday. MoDOT camera, 20th and Range Line, looking good. Let's take a quick look at currents around the region. 58 in Joplin, southwest breeze at 11 miles an hour. Across the area, again, some of us cooler, some of us warmer. 39 Iola, 48 Fort Scott, 55 Miami, and 54 in Neosho. As we get our day started, we're going to warm up, but slowly. We'll also be breezy, wind gusts 20 to 30 miles an hour, mostly cloudy, looking to be 57 by 11 o'clock, heading for a high about 64 today, mostly cloudy skies. Winds will die down this afternoon, then they'll start to pick up again tomorrow afternoon. We'll keep an eye on all those flooding concerns and have the latest on your full forecast a little bit later in the show. Tanya?
All right, thanks, Chris. Authorities say identifying the person found dead in Galena Monday might take longer than usual. The Kansas Bureau of Investigation says the body found Monday afternoon was the, quote, badly decomposed remains of a man, end quote. The body was in a field near 11th and Wood Street. Investigators say identification is expected to take longer than in typical cases due to the condition of the remains. They're not saying anything about a suspected cause of death, though. An autopsy is scheduled. A Jasper County, Missouri man learns his sentence for sexually abusing a 14-year-old. 41-year-old John Shutters of Joplin is sentenced to 2 consecutive 99-year terms in prison. He was originally charged with statutory sodomy and first-degree child molestation in 2020. The jury found Shutters guilty on 2 counts of statutory sodomy. 3 people are receiving treatment for non-life-threatening injuries after a crash on Missouri 171 near the state line. Jasper and Crawford County authorities responded to the wreck after 3 p.m. Tuesday afternoon. Missouri State Highway Patrol says the car driving west went into the path of a car driving north. One car overturned violently. MedFlight and Met's ambulance transported those injured to local hospitals. A dump truck spilled its load of lime in a crash Tuesday morning, forcing authorities to close part of a highway in Newton County. Investigators say an SUV driving east on Norway Road failed to yield to the truck driving south on State Route H. The truck went off the road, overcorrected, and then overturned. Authorities blocked both lanes of Route H while crews cleaned up the mess. Both drivers had non-life-threatening injuries. Well, authorities rescued 41 dogs from a Newton County home. The Missouri Humane Society received a call from the Newton County Sheriff's Department to rescue the dogs from a residence on Iris Road. The owner realized she was no longer able to provide the necessary care for her beloved pets. She called the sheriff's office for help. The Humane Society found the dogs were not abused or neglected.
Like I said, it was strictly a matter of she had some dogs, they bred, before she knew it, they bred, and all of a sudden she had 40-some animals. It's hard to find a home for an individual, for an individual to find a home for animals like that.
Missouri Humane Society team took the animals to their headquarters in St. Louis. The dogs will receive medical treatment before being placed in foster homes or adoption centers. We'll have more on this story in our 6 o'clock show. Oklahoma voters next week will decide whether to legalize recreational marijuana in the state. Currently, marijuana is legal in Oklahoma only for medicinal use. To give residents a chance to learn more about the proposal, the city of Miami, Oklahoma hosted a town hall meeting on Tuesday. It featured a 6-person panel with people on both sides of the issue, including local physicians and law enforcement members. Supporters include the operator of a dispensary, but some opponents believe the wording of the proposal leaves too many questions unanswered.
Maybe if we can work on it a little bit better, maybe if our legislators are willing to talk with us and answer some financial questions and how it's written, and that would be a better start. But I feel like I'm a no.
People able to try it out on recreational first, decide if they want to get their medical card for something a little stronger to get off opioids or something like that. I mean, that's what we're in it for.
That election takes place March 7th. That's a look at this morning's top stories and weather in our first 7 minutes. Coming up on the KOAM Morning News, last night was basketball night in Southeast Kansas as Girard takes on Riverton. We'll have more details with Chris in sports. Plus, PSU hosts a diversity panel as the university celebrates the impact diversity has on its campus. And a study reveals how a popular video viewing site definitely will not help you sleep better at night. You're watching the KOAM Morning News. More real news in the morning. We'll be right back.
Well, this week is the opening week of playoff basketball in Southeast Kansas in the boys 3A sub-state bracket in Girard. We have a good one in the first round featuring a pair of CNC rivals. Girard Trojans hosting the Riverton Rams. Girard is the 4 seed. Riverton is the 5 seed in the bracket. Girard came ready to play. Aiden Troike gets a strong drive and finish in the first. He scores 13. Then Tommy McDowell, little jab step, pull-up 3, knocks it down. Final seconds of the first, Colton Dressler gets the putback right before the buzzer. Trojans up 18-6 after 1. In the second, Luke Nigman finds McDowell. Tommy had 13 in the first half, 16 in the game. Girard gets the lead to 31-12 at halftime. Second half, Riverton gets something going. Colton Thomas buries the deep ball. Riverton within 12 going to the fourth. Early fourth, Jamie Richardson, 3 goes down. Rams battle back to get the deficit to single digits, but the Trojans finish. Aiden Damon, little floater, is big with 10 in the second half, 12 in the game. Then Alex Kester, all alone for the lay-in. Girard rolls 65-45. They have undefeated Galena in the sub-state semifinals Friday night. Well, the MIAA has released its all-conference basketball awards for this season. On the women's side, Pittsburgh State's Harper Schreiner has been named the league's Freshman of the Year. Schreiner has made a big impact in her first year on a Gorilla uniform. She's averaging 10.5 points per game to go, along with 6.5 rebounds per night. She's also second in the MIAA in assists with 4.2 per game. The Eudora, Kansas product helped the Gorillas go 17-5 in the MIAA and earn the number 4 seed in this weekend's MIAA conference tournament.
Anyone can kind of go off any given night, which is awesome to have and be a part of a team where I don't have to really do everything like I had to do in high school. Puts a lot of pressure off me. And so it's been fun to be around.
Usually by about 23, 24 games in, you see a kid kind of start to fall off. And what's really crazy is she has just elevated her game in the last couple, 2-3 games where we're seeing a whole new person as far as being more aggressive offensively, shooting jumpers, getting to the rack. When you look at her stats, she's just gotten better and better with every game.
Schreiner is one of 4 Pitt State women earning all MIAA recognition. They're all Kansas kids, actually. Tristan Gegg, former Labette County Grizzly, is a second-team all-conference pick. Corinna Gerber, out of Halstead, Kansas, is a third-team All-MIAA selection. And McPherson's Grace Pyle is honorable mention All-MIAA. Missouri Southern's Lacey Stokes, no surprise here, is a first-team All-MIAA pick for the second straight season. Stokes is averaging 16.2 points per game this season. That's fifth in the MIAA. She also leads the league in assists with a little more than 5 per game and is third in steals with 2.6 per night. In addition to being first-team All-MIAA, Stokes is also on the MIAA All-Defensive team. Joining her on the All-Defensive team is her teammate Maddie Stokes. Maddie is an honorable mention All-Conference pick. Also from Missouri Southern, Chrislyn Jones and Lane Skiles are also honorable mention All-MIAA selections. On the men's side, 5 local guys are on the All-MIAA list. For Pitt State, the Pittsburgh kid Marquis English made the cut after nearly averaging a double-double, 14 points, 9.5 rebounds per night. For Missouri Southern, the Lions have 4 guys earn honorable mention honors. Christian Bundy, Avery Taggart, Winston Desiso, and Vincent Sigmund Jr. Well, still to come, a passenger train collides with a freight train in Greece. We're going to take a look at those alert days and the heavy rain chances when the KOAM Morning News returns. Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News. We've got a couple of alert days coming up for Thursday and Friday. We got thunderstorms with heavy rain, and we got some flood watches out there Thursday evening through Friday morning. So here's where those flood watches are right now. We're talking Berry, McDonald, Delaware, and Benton counties all through noon, and these all kick in tomorrow evening. And that's because take a look at these rain totals, these projected rain totals. All of us getting in on some rain, some of us getting in on an inch up to an inch and a half. But as you head into the flood watch zones, look at Cassville, for example, and even Bentonville could pick up 3 inches or more. So we've talked about how we need the rain, but we just don't need that much all at once. And that's what leads to these flooding concerns. Could see an isolated storm or two late this evening. We should be dry otherwise. Our other concern is a very low-end risk for some stronger storms in this darker green right along and south of I-44. If we do see any stronger storms, small hail and gusty winds would be the primary risks with those particular storms. So let's talk about the timing once again on this. So we're going to go through today. We're going to be mostly cloudy. Cloud cover does keep us just a bit cooler than where we were yesterday, but we are still at least mild, especially for this time of year. Winds are going to be breezy this morning. They'll calm down this afternoon and then pick up again tomorrow. We'll talk about that. Now, as we go into late morning, early afternoon, saw a few stray showers out there, but then the big activity gets going, and this is where you can see the heavier thunderstorm and rain activity right along and south of I-44 as we head into tomorrow evening. Another little round comes through, some more heavy rain late in the evening. We get a brief pause for some of us before we see another batch of showers, thunderstorms, and heavy rain early Friday morning. At this point, temperatures are still going to be fairly mild, but we could see a changeover to some light, maybe even some moderate snowfall. Now, the good news is right now, we're not anticipating any significant accumulations. Despite how that looks, we shouldn't see any major accumulations out of the snow. The rainfall is the biggest issue. And this will all start to make its way out of here by Friday afternoon. And once the clouds clear, we're still going to be colder than where we are now, but we will warm up well above freezing. MoDOT camera, 20th and Range Line. We're looking good so far. Same from 7th and Range Line. We got clouds out there. We're at 58, feeling like 58 with a southwest breeze at 11. So we look at temperatures across the region. 39 Iola, 44 Pittsburgh, 55 Miami, and 54 in Neosho. As we get our day started, again, we'll be breezy, gusts 20, 30 miles an hour, warming back up to the upper 50s by 11 a.m. We are looking at highs of 64 today under those mostly cloudy skies. And again, the winds will calm down this afternoon before they start to pick up again tomorrow. Overnight low of 44, mostly cloudy skies. And then let's take a look at our 7-day forecast since we have alert days in the forecast. We've got Thursday, Friday up there, and we cool down. But again, the cool weather doesn't last long as we start to warm back up heading into next week. Well, Pittsburgh State University is celebrating how diversity impacts campus life. KOAM's Amber Jenkins spoke to student government and faculty during a diversity panel and has more.
Pittsburgh State University's Multicultural Department of Student Government is hosting the first faculty diversity panel to let professors share their experiences on adjusting to a new culture.
Diversity is a strength anywhere. If we have diverse faculty, the students can see somebody who is successful, or one who looks like them.
Professor Jay understands college students are curious about different cultures and lifestyles.
Sometimes they think I'm Indian. I look like somebody from the Indian subcontinent, but I specifically tell them, yes, I belong to that geographic area, but I am from Sri Lanka.
Pitt State is proud of the diversity within the student body. A diverse student body thrives off the inclusion of the faculty.
They look like the students, and I think that's one of the things that students look for is they can go to professors that look like them and feel comfortable talking to them. And
even in subjects like math, professors try to acknowledge how diversity impacted their field while teaching.
History of math is one area. I don't teach it, but you can bring women who contributed to math, African American women, African American astronauts, computer scientists, all sorts of diversity into the classroom.
The different perspectives adds to campus life. After all, Professor Jay only expected to teach one semester at Pitt. That was 25 years ago.
I decided to stay, so I've been here for a long time now.
PSU is holding other events highlighting diversity throughout this week, and that brings us to our question for you. How important is diversity in your life? Is it very important? Not important? We want to hear from you. Make sure you vote through our website, our app, and take part in the discussion on our Facebook page, and we will be back with Health Watch right after this.
From you. Topping Health Watch this morning, having trouble sleeping? Well, stay away from YouTube. A recent study published in the Journal of Clinical Sleep Medicine says more than 60% of Americans have used the internet, including YouTube, to find health information on sleep disorders. Investigators say they searched the site using terms like sleep tips and insomnia and discovered that 43% of the videos viewed were posted by bloggers, while 33% were made by medical professionals and 24% by health coaches. It's not clear why those looking for help decided to watch the bloggers' videos over those made by sleep experts, although the study's authors think it could be the content creators' ability to make more engaging videos than the health professionals. Researchers say they did find misinformation in some online sleep videos. Well, it apparently does not take much exercise to have a positive impact on your health. Scientists, mostly from the University of Cambridge in UK, published a study in the British Journal of Sports Medicine on Tuesday. They found just 11 minutes of aerobic activity every day could lower your risk of cancer, cardiovascular disease, or premature death. About 11 minutes per day is around half the minimum recommended amount of physical activity. Study found that amount of time was associated with a 23% lower risk of early death. Aerobic activities included a variety of exercises from walking and running to dancing, cycling, and swimming. The exercises had to be done with moderate to vigorous intensity. According to the study, the higher the levels of physical activity, the lower the possible rates of premature death and chronic disease. Sobering statistics about the mental health of a Black, transgender, and non-binary young people in the United States. According to a new survey conducted by the Trevor Project, a quarter of Black, transgender, and non-binary young people attempted suicide in the past year. It's more than double the rate of suicide attempts among genetically male and female LGBTQ Black youth. The Trevor Project, which is a nonprofit that focuses on suicide prevention in LGBTQ youth, surveyed nearly 34,000 LGBTQ youth ages 13 to 24 in the fall of 2021. Researchers also found Black and non-binary young people reported higher rates of anxiety and depression. Among Black youth overall, suicide rates have risen faster over the past 2 decades than in any other racial or ethnic group. Elliptical machines and treadmills are not getting a lot of love in the gym these days. Apparently, post-pandemic, strength training or weight or resistance training is all the rage now. According to ClassPass, a subscription-based fitness app, there was a 94% increase in strength training classes in 2022. So why all the fuss? Well, the health benefits of strength training, the growth of high-intensity gyms like CrossFit, and more women brushing off stereotypes that bodybuilding is for men are all the reasons why so many people are flocking to the gym. The high demand has helped gyms recover from the pandemic era blow. So much so that some of them are reducing cardio space to make room for functional training, like bench press machines or squat racks, or to dumbbells. That's a look at some of today's top health stories. You're watching the KOAM Morning News.
And we've got alert days Thursday, Friday. We've already got flood watches kicking in tomorrow evening through Friday morning. We'll talk about all of that when we come back.
Right now at 5:30, as spring approaches, the Joplin School District wants to remind residents where their nearest shelter is.
We are breezy but dry for the time being, but that's going to change in the next 24 hours or so. The latest coming up.
Freeman Health Center gives patients an easier way to check in to their appointments.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It's 5:30. I'm Tanya Bach.
I'm Chris Warner. So we've got another mild day for us today, but we do have some big changes coming in about the next, I'd say, 36 hours. My time math is not as great as it used to be, but about 36 hours from now, some big changes. And we do have a couple of alert days out there as well. And those kick in for tomorrow and for Friday as we're watching thunderstorm chances increase tomorrow afternoon and evening. And with that, though, comes the possibility of some very heavy rainfall across the region. And some of us already under flood watches that'll kick in tomorrow. So we're talking Delaware, McDonald, and Berry counties in southwest Missouri through noon on Friday. But these don't officially they don't kick in officially until tomorrow afternoon. And here's why those flood watches are out there. We're all going to get in on this rain action, but some of us getting a lot more. And as you head along and south of I-44, we get into a 2 to 3 inch range for rainfall totals, which we know we need this rain. Absolutely we do, but we don't need this much in such a short order. On top of that, maybe a stray storm late tonight, but we're looking at a very low wind risk in this darker green, again, along and south of I-44 for a strong storm or two tomorrow evening as well. If we do see any, we're looking at maybe some small hail, gusty winds as the primary threat. We go through today. We start our day very breezy. We will be cloudy. The winds will calm down as we head into this afternoon, and then we're going to see those showers and thunderstorms really pick up. And unfortunately, this skipped ahead to the wrong spot for us, but let me press a couple of buttons in the few seconds I've got here. And this is where we'll see. We'll have a few stray showers early tomorrow morning and into the early afternoon. And then after that is when we see the big shower and thunderstorm activity start to move in. You see the heaviest rain along and south of I-44. A brief break overnight and then another round of showers and thunderstorms and maybe even some light snow Friday morning. We'll take a look at your full forecast and talk about these rain chances here in a few minutes.
All right, thanks, Chris. It was the year in the making, but the Joplin Police Department releases its annual report for 2022. The report details statistics from the past year, including calls for service, traffic crashes and traffic stops, crime statistics, and investigations. JPD has provided a link on its Facebook page if you're interested in reading the full report. Kansas Governor Laura Kelly announces a local maintenance and rehabilitation project is receiving funds as part of KDOT's Shortline Rail Improvement Fund program. One of the 6 organizations receiving grant funds is Scholar Grain of Pittsburgh. Officials say Scholar will receive more than $500,000 for siding extensions. As spring approaches, the Joplin School District wants to remind area residents that community safe rooms will be open at several locations. It's in case of tornado warnings or when tornado sirens are activated. If warnings or sirens happen during school hours, students and staff will receive priority for safe room occupancy.
We're treating it as it's no different than if a school, if there's a tornado warning that happens during the weekend, we would still open up the safe rooms across the district. So we're treating West Central the exact same way.
The district says while all school buildings in the district include safe room locations for students and staff, not all school buildings include community safe rooms. To find a full list of community safe rooms, download our KOAM News Now app. Freeman Health System is giving patients a new way to check into their appointments. The new online system will automate appointments through a patient's phone or computer by reminding them of upcoming appointments and allowing them to confirm or cancel with ease. Officials say this new system will save patients a lot of time.
Everything is electronic nowadays, right? We want to come up, I guess, and match that with the rest of the world that's doing it right now. And we wanted to be able to provide a benefit to our patients as well as our staff.
The new system will be available at all Freeman doctors' offices and clinics. Looking for a unique home to set up some robots? How about a jail? This former jailhouse just hit the market. It's located in Harrisonville, Missouri, about 37 miles south of Kansas City. It can be all yours for about $195,000. The property sits on half an acre lot and boasts 34 cells complete with toilets and sinks and fenced-in lots and plenty of office space. 1960s property has reportedly passed inspection and is said to be built to last, making it a great place to settle in for a life sentence of living. Check out Next Home Vibe Real Estate to make your plea for this unique property. Interesting. Pediatricians are not just being relied on to care for kids' physical health, but also their mental well-being. To do that, primary care doctors and clinicians need additional training. Sean Lodging speaks with a doctor at the KU School of Medicine, Wichita, on an effort to meet that need.
There has been a rise the last few years in the number of kids and teens dealing with depression, anxiety, and other mental health illnesses. But in Kansas, there's also a lack of pediatric mental health professionals. That's why the pediatric residency program at the KU School of Medicine in Wichita is working to improve the mental health training these doctors receive. The program has received a $2.5 million grant from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services. The funds will go to innovate the curriculum and training residents receive to include more mental and behavioral health to help benefit the care of Kansas kids and teens. Dr. Melissa Jefferson, one of the doctors working on this project, says another concerning trend is the growing number of teens and preteens turning to substance use as a result of a mental health condition. She says the goal of this training is to help pediatricians notice the signs and help provide resources. She says as pediatricians, it's important to be able to care for the full health needs of a patient, not just the physical.
So much overlap between the physical health of an individual and the mental and behavioral health, and that's something that we know as physicians that we can't really separate the two. We have to treat each individual holistically.
The KU School of Medicine Wichita has already started to implement some of these changes into their curriculum, but the clinical residency part, where these residents spend time actually in a healthcare setting, is set to begin early next year.
On the classroom side, the program will allow access to more guest speakers. Well, this morning, we're discussing diversity in your life.
Yeah, Pittsburgh State University's Multicultural Department of Student Government hosts the first faculty diversity panel to let professors share their experiences on adjusting to a new culture. One professor understands college students are curious about different cultures and lifestyles, as people assume he's Indian when in reality he's from Sri Lanka.
Pitt State is proud of the diversity within its student body. A diverse student body thrives off the inclusion of the faculty. Even in subjects like math, professors try to acknowledge how diversity impacted their field while teaching.
That brings us to our question for you this morning. How important is diversity in your life? Is it very important, or not important? So far, 84% of you say it's not important, and 16% of you say it's very important. So make sure you take time to vote through our website, through our app, and take part in the discussion on our Facebook page.
All right, well, that's a look at our top news stories. Coming up this half hour in the KOAM Morning News, Pokemon fans who can't get enough of the game now have a way to play as they sleep.
Interesting. Plus, volunteers continue to help animals in Turkey and Syria. We'll have the latest.
You're watching the KOAM Morning News. More real news in the morning. We'll be right back. Topping World Watch, a deadly train accident in Greece Wednesday night. At least 29 people are dead after a passenger train collided with an oncoming freight train. Happened a couple of 100 miles north of Athens. Multiple cars derailed and at least 3 caught fire. Nearly 100 people were injured, some of them seriously. They were taken to several hospitals in the area. An investigation into the accident is underway. Looks can be deceiving, and police say this Thai drug dealer disguised himself as a Korean man using plastic surgery. And last Thursday, Thai police raided a condo in the suburbs of Bangkok, the hideout of an alleged drug smuggler who had been on the run for months. The man they found went by the name of Jamin Zhang and was described to police as good-looking Korean man with wavy hair and smooth skin. The man in question is not Korean. Police say 25-year-old Thai national Saharat Swahanjanjang, I'm sorry, I know I butchered that, had attempted to reinvent himself as a Korean by changing his name, his haircut, and underwent multiple plastic surgery procedures until his face had completely changed. Before and after photos show a dramatically different look. Quite so. Well, volunteers are still managing to save animals caught up in those devastating earthquakes that hit Turkey and Syria more than 3 weeks ago. CBS's Tina Kraus shows us some of the remarkable rescues.
It's moments like this that bring a bit of light in the dreadful aftermath of Turkey's deadly earthquakes. Family pets back in the arms of their owners. Weeks after the disaster, rescue teams pulled this tomcat named Zena from the rubble of a building about to be leveled, making for another heartwarming reunion.
Sweetheart, where are you?
American volunteers from PETA say they've saved more than 100 pets since the quakes hit.
They came from a pet shop that was at the basement of a building that was just about to collapse.
We just found this dog in a derelict building. He seems to have a broken leg, so we're going to take him straight to the vet.
Similar missions are underway across the border in Syria, with volunteers scouring ruins of hard-hit towns, coaxing animals out of danger, which isn't always easy. Muhammad Al-Jalil says many of the cats scratch us out of fear after all they've been through. The abandoned pets are brought to shelters like this one, where they're treated for injuries and served up their first meal in weeks in a region still reeling from a month of misery. Tina Kraus, CBS News, London.
Shelter workers say while some animals will be lucky enough to be reunited with their owners, many more pets lost their families to the deadly quakes. Well, not all heroes wear capes. And meet two crime-fighting canines, Buster and Bess. The British duo will soon be heading to Thailand to start a new role protecting critically endangered pangolins. The pangolin saving Labradors recently graduated from a training program with the Metropolitan Police. Will fly to Thailand in April. 200,000 pangolins are believed to be trafficked every year, but the new paw enforcement will work to sniff out live pangolins smuggled through airports, ports, and roads, so that they can be rescued and released back into the wild. Sounds like an episode of Paw Patrol there. Well, a temple in India is protecting pachyderms by using a high-tech robot for religious rituals. This life-size robotic elephant is now being used for ancient ceremonies in the Indian state of Kerala. Hindu temples in India have a history of using elephants to carry out traditional services, but environmentalists say many of them are chained, beaten, and illegally held in captivity. The animal rights group PETA donated the robot to the temple in hopes of saving elephants from abuse. The temple has pledged to stop using elephants and other animals for religious rituals, hoping to set a precedent to keep them safe from harm. That's a look at some of your biggest headlines from around the world. We'll be right back.
All right, we've got ourselves a couple of alert days for Thursday and Friday. We got thunderstorms coming in with some heavy rain and flood watches out there that kick in tomorrow evening and run through Friday morning for Delaware, McDonald, and Berry counties. Again, those run through noon on Friday officially. And here's why. Check out these rainfall totals. All of us getting in on a fair amount of rain, but you get along and south of I-44, we're talking anywhere 2 to 3 inches of rain. So we've talked about it before. We need this rain to help with that drought situation, but too much all at once is not a good thing. On top of that, there might be a stray storm or two late tonight, but most of us dry. It's tomorrow. We have a very low end risk of a strong storm or two if you're in the dark green. So again, along and south of I-44. Any stronger storms we see will be capable of producing maybe some small hail and some gusty winds. As we go through today, the winds will die down this afternoon, but we will stay cloudy, and so we will not be nearly as warm as we were yesterday. And as we head into tomorrow, through the late morning and early afternoon, we could see a stray shower or two out there, but the main event will get going by about 4 or 5 o'clock tomorrow evening. And once it gets going, check out the widespread showers and thunderstorms out there with those heavier rains. And that's why we have those flood watches, because you can see where the heaviest rain is going to be focused, again, right along and south of I-44. More showers and thunderstorms through Thursday evening. We get a brief break late Thursday night, early Friday morning before we see another round. Showers, thunderstorms, and heavy rain start to roll in at about 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning. And then we could see that change over to some light snow. We're not anticipating any significant accumulations with this snow, but be aware that it could be out there and could make for some slick spots Friday morning. That all gets out of here and the clouds clear out by Friday afternoon, and as they do, we don't warm a lot, but we warm enough that any snow we see Friday is not going to be a major concern for very long. MoDOT camera, 20th and Range Line, looking pretty good. Same at 7th and Range Line, and we got cloudy skies, 58. Southwest breeze at 11. Across the region, here's what we are looking at. We've got 39 Iola, Parsons, 50 Chetopa, 54 Miami and Neosho, and look at that, up to 57 in Carthage. So we go through the day, again, breezy, gusts 20, 30 miles an hour, temperatures into the upper 50s by late morning. Looking at those highs, getting into the lower to mid 60s, mostly cloudy skies, calmer winds this afternoon, mostly cloudy this evening, and we will eventually drop back through into the mid 40s for our overnight lows. And again, on the extended forecast, the alert days for Thursday and Friday, and then after that, we stay mild. So again, any snow we see on Friday, not going to be a significant concern. Maybe an evening shower Saturday, not bad Sunday, 64, 70 Monday. Again, some showers possible, showers Tuesday, and we stay mild for a little bit before we start to cool back off again with a few more shower chances toward the end of next week. That's a check of your forecast. We're back with more of the KOAM Morning News right after this.
Have you ever enjoyed a video game so much you hated to stop playing it so you could sleep? Well, one game company has found a way around that. David Daniel explains in today's Hollywood Minute.
On this island, you'll find Great Big Snorlax and Professor Neroli, who is researching Pokemon Sleep.
Pokemon Sleep is the game that starts when you turn in for the night. It tracks and analyzes your sleep, and Pokemon that sleep the way you do, dozing, snoozing, or slumbering, gather around Snorlax. The more you play, the more rare Pokemon sleep styles you'll discover. The Pokemon Company has announced the game is due out this summer.
Wow, thank you.
The multiple SAG Awards for cast members of Everything Everywhere All at Once made it official, no sweeps this year. According to award show website Gold Derby, for the first time in 20 years, no actor can sweep their category in all the major awards: Golden Globes, Critics' Choice, BAFTA, SAG, and the Oscars. Will that make it tougher to win Oscar pools? We'll find out when the 95th Academy Awards ceremony takes place on Sunday, March 12th. In Hollywood, I'm David Daniel.
And we will be right back. Well, lions and tigers take on the snow in California. Animals at San Diego's Lions, Tigers, and Bears got to see some snow during the region's first blizzard warning. Louie the lion took up a little while trying to warm up to the cold flakes, but after a few roars, decided to feel it out. Nola the tiger, on the other hand, seemed very at home in the wintry weather, moving about her enclosure like normal. A different change for them. Well, here's a flight many of us have wished that we had taken. This is the view from EasyJet Flight 1806. Flying over the northern lights in northern Europe on Monday. Passenger Ross Sticka shared these captivating images with us. He said the pilot flew in a circle to give them a good view of the famed lights. Crew members turned off the cabin lights so everyone could see. Sticka said he and his family were flying to Manchester, England, and sitting on the left side and got lots of pictures. We are very grateful for that. I would always, that's on my bucket list, Chris. I would love to check out the northern lights.
Yeah, those would be really, really neat to see, for sure, to see in person. It's one thing to see the photos, another thing to actually experience it. So here's what we've got today. We're going to be breezy as we start our day. We're talking gusts 20, 30 miles an hour. We will warm up under mostly cloudy skies, the upper 50s through the late morning. We're not as warm as yesterday, but we're still mild, not bad. We're up to 64 for our high. Mostly cloudy skies. Winds will calm down this afternoon. As we head into this evening, they'll try and get a little gusty again late tonight. We're looking at an overnight low of 44, and we hang on to those mostly cloudy skies. Now, as we look at the 7-day, we've got alert days for Thursday and Friday. We're talking thunderstorms and heavy rain, and really the heavy rain and flooding are our main concern as we head into Thursday evening and into Friday morning. We could see a brief change over to some light snow Friday morning, but we're not expecting much out of that, but still could lead to a few slick spots out there with the rain on top of everything else. But we stay mild all the way through Tuesday of next week. We see more shower chances Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. However, after Tuesday, we start to drop back down into the 40s for highs Wednesday and Thursday. Then we only make it to 40 by next Friday with some additional shower chances out there. But again, our main concern is the thunderstorms and the heavy rain. Some of us could see upwards of 2 to 3 inches of rainfall, so do be prepared tomorrow evening and into Friday morning. Watch out for those low-lying crossings and other flood-prone areas. And of course, we'll continue to cover this as these storms move in. We'll be back with more right after this.
Right now at 6, a car crash near the Missouri state line leads to an overturned vehicle and leaves 3 people injured.
And we've got flood watches for some of us south of I-44 as we head into our Thursday and Friday. We've got one more nice day today before those changes get here. We'll break it all down coming up.
And the topic of recreational marijuana rolls into the voting booth in the Sooner State. Oklahoma voters go to the polls on the issue next week.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. I'm Tanya Bach.
I'm Chris Warner. Coming up on 6:01 on this Wednesday morning. It felt like Wednesday yesterday, but it is officially Wednesday today.
It is.
And we are tracking some thunderstorms and some very heavy rain on the way to the area. And so we do have some alert days out there for Thursday and Friday with that heavy rain, with some flood watches that kick in tomorrow evening and run through Friday at noon. And here's a look at those flood watches. Delaware, McDonald, Berry counties all through noon on Friday. And again, these officially take effect tomorrow evening. And here's why. We're all going to get in on some rain action as we head into Thursday into Friday. But as you see along and south of I-44, we're looking at 2-3 inches of rainfall possible out there. So that's going to be our primary concern for flooding. While an isolated storm or two is possible late tonight, we've got better thunderstorm chances tomorrow. And in this dark green here along and south of I-44 is a very low end risk for some stronger storms. And if we do see any stronger storms, small hail and some gusty winds are the primary risk. At this point, we're not anticipating really any severe weather, but a strong storm or two is possible. Now, as we look down the road, we go through today, we're going to be mostly cloudy, not nearly as warm as we were yesterday, but still mild. By late Thursday morning, we could see a few stray showers around the area into the early afternoon. And then as we get in 4 or 5 o'clock, the big event really arrives. And you can see where the heavier rains and thunderstorms are going to be along and south of I-44, hence those flood watches. The more showers, thunderstorms, heavy rain come in as we go through Thursday evening. We get a brief break very early Friday morning, and then we see another round of showers, thunderstorms, and heavy rain start to roll through the area. And there's the possibility we could see this change over to snow for a brief time. And so we could see a little bit out of this. We're not really anticipating much in the way of accumulations, but a few slick spots are possible. We won't warm up as much on Friday as we have been the last few days, but we still will be mild. MoDOT camera, 20th and Range Line looks good. Same at 7th and Range Line. Got cloudy skies. 54 in Joplin. West breeze at 7. As we take a look around the region, cool. 41 Iola, 45 Parsons, 49 Miami, and up to 59 in Neosho. As we get our day started, wind gusts this morning, 20 to 30 miles an hour. Temperatures getting into the upper 50s by late morning. We'll take a complete look at your forecast and the week ahead here in just a few minutes.
All right, thanks, Chris. A Jasper County, Missouri man received sentencing for sexually abusing a 14-year-old. 41-year-old John Shutters of Joplin is sentenced to 2 consecutive 99-year terms in prison. He was originally charged with statutory sodomy and first-degree child molestation in 2020. A jury found Shutters guilty on 2 counts of statutory sodomy. A car crash on Missouri 171 near the state line leaves 3 people with non-life-threatening injuries and an overturned vehicle. Jasper and Crawford County authorities responded to the wreck after 3 on Tuesday afternoon. Missouri State Highway Patrol says a car driving west went into the path of a car driving north. One car overturned violently. MedFlight and Met's ambulance transported those injured to local hospitals. And a dump truck dumps a load of lime when it overturns Tuesday morning in Newton County. The crash forced authorities to close part of a highway in Newton County. Investigators say an SUV driving east on Norway Road failed to yield to the truck driving south on State Route H. The truck went off the road, overcorrected, and then overturned. Authorities blocked both lanes of Route H while crews cleaned up the mess. Both drivers had non-life-threatening injuries. Another one of the 4 states gets ready to take the burning issue of recreational marijuana into the voting booth. Oklahoma voters next week will decide whether to legalize recreational marijuana in the state. Currently, it's only legal medicinally. To give residents a chance to learn more about the proposal, on Tuesday, the city of Miami, Oklahoma hosted a town hall. It featured a 6-person panel with people on both sides of the issue, including local physicians and law enforcement members.
I mean, part of us think we really need it. Part of us don't like the way the recreational is worded or some of the laws are written. But I personally think it's going to be a benefit. And I think it could be a big help, especially for Miami.
The election will take place March 7th. Well, looking to lock up a sweet new property deal, or how about a unique home to set up some roots? Or how about a jail? Yup, this former jailhouse just hit the market. It's located in Harrisonville, Missouri, about 37 miles south of Kansas City. It can be all yours for about $195,000. Property sits on half an acre lot and boasts 34 cells, complete with toilets and sinks, a fenced-in lot, and plenty of office space. The 1960s property has reportedly passed inspection and is said to be built to last, making it a great place to settle in for a life sentence of living. Check out Home Vibe Real Estate to make your plea for this unique property. Chris told me he's putting in a bid for $145,000. We'll see how it works. Well, Kansas Governor Laura Kelly announced a local maintenance and rehabilitation project is receiving funds as part of KDOT's Short Line Rail Improvement Fund program. One of the 6 organizations receiving grant funds is Scholar Grain of Pittsburgh. Officials with Scholar will receive more than $500,000 for siding extensions. Well, 2 weather systems have dumped rain and snow on the U.S. from coast to coast, with more winter storms expected through the end of the week in parts of the country. At least 1 person in California has died after part of her house collapsed in the snow. Jared Hill has more on the impacts of the most recent wild weather.
Winter weather tragedy in Central California. This porch collapsed under the weight of heavy snow. An 80-year-old woman trapped later died.
We just saw the activity and knew it wasn't good.
Sheriff's deputies in Central California rode snowmobiles to check on snowed-in residents.
The difference here is the storms just keep kind of coming back to back to back.
A group of volunteers also searched for people who may have been stuck in their cars.
To count the number of people, impossible. Just this week alone, my group has probably helped hundreds of people.
Further south, a state of emergency declared in San Bernardino County after several feet of snow trapped residents and shut down roads in the mountains. Police organized escorts for delivery trucks and some folks to take critical supplies to those who might be running out of food, medicine, and other necessities.
I have, animals up there. His wife, my mom, is up there alone.
Meanwhile, heavy rains and melting snowpack triggered fears of mudslides in Los Angeles County, like this one that shut down Mulholland Drive. Across the country in the Northeast, something different. Families enjoying the snow day after a pretty mild winter.
I really like sweating.
Although the winter fun landed 4 University of Connecticut students in the hospital, they collided while sliding down a hill.
You're bound to hit someone if there's like 100 kids out.
In New York, Monday night's snow turned to Tuesday morning slush. The treacherous and slick roads caused one car to spin out north of the city. A drop in temperature overnight is expected to further impact driving conditions. Jared Hill, CBS News.
Second storm system that's threatening parts of California right now, especially near the Sierra Nevadas, is expected to make its way across the southern U.S. later this week. And that's a look at this morning's top stories and weather in our first 7 minutes. Coming up on the KOAM Morning News, A newly formed congressional committee looks to take on Chinese aggression with bipartisan support. Plus, researchers take a novel approach to looking at the human digestive system thanks to miniature models and microchips. We'll explain. And Chris has another look at your forecast and how long we can expect to have these spring-like temperatures. You're watching the KOAM Morning News. More real news in the morning. We'll be right back. Topping Nation Watch this morning, a new congressional committee focused on China held its first public hearing Tuesday evening. The goal to identify the threats from the Chinese Communist Party and come up with solutions. Skylar Henry has the details.
A House Select Committee focused on national security threats from the Chinese Communist Party held its first hearing Tuesday night.
We may call this a strategic competition, but it's not a polite tennis match. This is an existential struggle over what life will look like in the 21st century.
The bipartisan committee is hoping to pass several bills and reshape America's attitude toward China.
The CCP is counting on us to be divided. We must rise to the occasion and prove them wrong.
Former advisors to President Trump warned against appeasing Beijing any further.
China's communist leaders are masters at disguising their true intentions.
The committee made a point to distinguish between the Chinese Communist Party and the Chinese people. Human rights advocate Tong Yi was arrested in the 1990s for disturbing social order and sent to a labor camp.
Chinese people fundamentally are not different from the American people. They all want more freedoms.
The panel is expected to ask U.S. businesses, including Disney and the NBA, to testify about their relationships with China.
Big tech, Hollywood, sports leagues, retail legends all say the right things in America, but are silent in China, bending the knee to the CCP.
Gallagher hopes to eventually bring the committee to Taiwan, the crucial island that's contributing to the rising tensions between the U.S. and China. Skylar Henry, CBS News, Washington.
Well, today, a separate House committee is expected to move a bill forward that would allow President Biden to potentially ban the app TikTok. U.S. officials are concerned that its Chinese-based parent company, ByteDance, could be collecting Americans' personal data. We'll have more on that in our next half hour. That's a look at one of today's top national stories. Here's Chris with a look at your forecast.
We are fairly dry for today, but we've got a lot of rain coming into the 4 states. We've got alert days coming in for Thursday and Friday, and flood watches kicking in as well. We'll talk about how much rain we're going to see and what happens with our temperatures over the next few days when the KOAM Morning News returns. Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News. Time for a little weather trivia for you today. We want to know, what is the name of the lowest region of the Earth's atmosphere? Is it the ionosphere, the thermosphere, the stratosphere, or the troposphere? While you think about that, let's take a look at our forecast. 7th and range line, we're getting a little more daylight, and you can see it is cloudy out there. And we are also watching our alert days for Thursday and Friday. We got thunderstorms with heavy rain and flood watches that kick in for some of us tomorrow evening. And here's a look at those flood watches. Barry, McDonald counties in Missouri, Benton County, Arkansas, Delaware County, Oklahoma, all kick in tomorrow evening and run through noon on Friday. And here's why. We're all getting in on rain action as we head through Thursday into Friday. But along and south of I-44, we're in that 2 to 3 inch range, and that is, we need the rain, yes, but that is too much rain in too short a time. That's why we do have these flooding concerns, and that's why we do have our alert days. While we may see an isolated storm today, it is very unlikely. We should stay dry. Tomorrow, though, thunderstorms. And in this dark green, this is a very low wind risk for a strong storm or two as we see these thunderstorms tomorrow evening. Right along and south of I-44 where the stronger storms may be. And if we do see any stronger storms, we're talking some small hail, maybe some gusty winds. We're not anticipating any severe weather. As we go through today, we remain cloudy, and our winds will actually start to die down. They're going to get a little breezy this morning, and they'll calm down later this afternoon before they pick up yet again heading into tomorrow. Now, tomorrow late morning and into the early afternoon, we could see a few stray showers. It's between about 4 or 5 o'clock we start to see the main event roll in, and you can see where the heavier rain and thunderstorm activity is going to be right over where those flood watches are. More showers, more thunderstorms, more heavy rain training over the same areas as we go through Thursday evening. There's a very brief break for some of us, about 12:30, 1 o'clock Friday morning, and then another round of heavy rain and thunderstorms starts to roll into the area. And yes, that is snow. Now at this point, we're not anticipating any significant accumulations from the snow. We're going to be a little too warm, ground's going to be a little too warm, and we're going to be a little too wet for it to really stick, but it could still cause some slick spots out there, so we'll keep an eye on that for you. Once that kicks out of here, we actually even start to warm up a bit on Friday, and so again, any snow we see isn't going to stick around for very long. MoDOT camera, 20th and Range Line, we're looking pretty good so far. We got the cloudy skies out there in Joplin. We're sitting at 54 right now with a west breeze at 7 miles an hour. Around the region, temperatures look like this. We've got some warm spots. We've got some cool spots. 39 Fort Scott, Nevada, 42 Pittsburgh, 46 Chatopa, 49 Miami. Then we're up to 55 Anderson, 59 in Neosho, 64 in Cassville right now. And as we go through the day, again, winds will pick up. We're talking gusts 20, 30 miles an hour. So hold on to that hat and make sure your trash can's in a good spot. Temperatures into the upper 50s through the late morning hours. And as we head into the afternoon, we're cooler than yesterday, but still pretty mild. We're looking at highs in the lower to mid 60s. We'll remain mostly cloudy. And again, those winds should start to calm down this afternoon. We'll remain mostly cloudy as we head into this evening, and we will eventually drop back down to that low of 44 degrees. Now, let's take a quick look at the answer to our question. What is the name of the lowest region of the Earth's atmosphere? The ionosphere, the thermosphere, the stratosphere, or the troposphere? Well, if you picked troposphere, you would be correct. As a matter of fact, troposphere comes from the Greek word tropos, meaning turn or change. This is the layer where the most atmospheric changes take place. It's also what we live in. All right, our alert days tomorrow and Friday, so do be aware, especially with the flooding concerns. If you're aware of the low-level crossings, if you're aware of flood-prone areas, make sure you plan your drive Thursday evening and Friday morning accordingly. Do not drive into flooded areas. We're going to make it up to upper 40s, about 51 on Friday. We stay mild as we head through the weekend. Pretty nice Sunday for us. Some showers Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. And as we head into Wednesday, though, temperatures begin to drop. 49 Wednesday, 48 Thursday, and even cooler by next Friday, down to 40 with some additional shower chances. We'll be back with more of the KOAM Morning News right after this.
Topping Health Watch this morning, doctors may soon be able to test for COVID using just your breath. Study published in JAMA Network Open found there are detectable differences in the breath of people with the COVID Delta variant. While the results are promising, researchers say they will need to find different markers to detect Omicron and other COVID variants. 1 in 5 patients at high risk for heart disease refuse to take critical statin medications. That's the findings of a study by Brigham and Women's Hospital. Researchers say women were even more likely than men to refuse statin therapy, possibly due to the misconception that men are more at risk for heart disease. All patients who did not take statins saw their bad cholesterol levels rise. And researchers looking at how our bodies process foods and medications say they're having success creating miniature models of human organs on microchips. The gut on a chip contains cells and tissue cultures which accurately replicate the function of human intestines. Doctors say they can use these devices to do drug studies and learn how to treat diseases without animal testing or lengthy clinical trials. Tuesday marked Rare Disease Day, raising awareness for the 300 million people worldwide living with a rare disease. Bradley Blackburn has the story of a Pennsylvania family who says a unique therapy is changing the lives of their 2 daughters.
Sisters Anna and Bella Burkhart share the same rare gene mutation. 12-year-old Anna was diagnosed when she was 4.
It was kind of bittersweet because on one hand, we were happy to finally have a diagnosis, but then on the other hand, nobody knew what it was. It was so rare.
There are only about 130 documented cases of the CASK gene mutation, which can affect brain development. After a lot of research, the Burkharts found an intensive play-based therapy pioneered by the Neuromotor Research Clinic at Virginia Tech's Fralin Biomedical Research Institute. Anna went at age 5.
It's delivered multiple hours a day, multiple days a week for multiple weeks. And we believe that it is impacting a child's ability to learn by creating changes in the brain and giving them platforms to maximize their development.
Yay!
Occupational therapist Dory Wallace worked with Anna and Bella, who is now 2.
And push. To be able to reach out and activate a toy. We worked on sounds and being able to communicate.
For Bella, she sat up. She sat up, was playing with stuff with her hands, which I never saw her do.
They've changed our lives. They gave hope when there was none.
Doctors had told the Burkharts Anna would never walk, talk, or have a fulfilling life.
She's sassy, witty, funny. She goes to regular school. She got to be a cheerleader this past fall. Bella has a lot more medical needs. She doesn't walk or talk. And so I think that's difficult for us to see them be so different. Even if that's not her journey, we're still going to hold hope that it will be.
At home, the family is using everything they've learned, so the girls keep making strides. Bradley Blackburn, CBS News.
Beautiful girls. Well, the research clinics team had worked with many children with disabilities that had affected their brain development and function, but Anna was the first child with a KASK gene mutation they've worked with. That's a look at some of today's top health stories. You're watching the KOAM Morning News.
And we are watching the possibility of some very heavy rainfall with some thunderstorms heading into tomorrow afternoon and evening. We've got flood watches, Delaware County, Oklahoma, Benton County, Arkansas, and the McDonald Berry counties, Missouri until noon. These officially take effect starting tomorrow evening. Here's why we've got those flood watches. We're all getting in on some rain and thunderstorm activity as we head into our Thursday and Friday. But as you can see along and south of I-44, they're in that 2 to 3 inch range, and that is too much rain in too short of time. On top of that, we're also looking at a low end risk of a strong storm or two in this darker green, again along and south of I-44. If we do see any stronger storms, we're talking maybe some small hail and gusty winds as the main threats, but we're not anticipating really any severe weather or anything like that. As we head into tomorrow late morning and early afternoon, we could see a stray shower or two across the area, and then the main event will start to get going around say 4 or 5 o'clock. And here you can see where the heavier rain and thunderstorm activity will be, right where those flood watches are. And it continues through Thursday evening, a brief break very early Friday morning before another round of heavy rain, showers, and thunderstorms starts to roll through. We could see a brief transition to some light snow. We're not anticipating any major accumulations, but it's something that could make the road slick. MoDOT camera, 20th and range line, looks good. There's those clouds at 7th and range line. We're sitting at 54 in Joplin with a west breeze at 7 miles an hour. Across the region, some warm spots, some cool spots. 45 Iola Parsons, 51 Anderson, 47 in Miami, 52 in Neosho. As we get our day started, we'll start to see the winds pick up, gusting 20, 30 miles an hour, and we'll start to warm into the upper 50s by the late morning. We'll have more on your forecast and more of the KOAM Morning News right after this.
Right now at 6:30, and the Missouri Humane Society rescues more than 3 dozen dogs, this time from a loving household.
And we've got showers, thunderstorms, and heavy rain rolling in tomorrow, but another spring-like day for us today. We'll talk about all of that coming up.
Here in the 4 states, we know springtime is storm season, and the Joplin schools want the community to know they are ready.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It's now 6:31. I'm Tanya Bach.
And I'm Chris Warner. So we have a very nice day for us again today. We're a little cooler than yesterday. A lot more cloud cover today. However, we've got really big changes coming into Thursday and Friday. We actually have flood watches, as you can see highlighted in the green. Those all kick in tomorrow evening and run through noon on Friday. And here's why. We've been talking about the precipitation. All of us getting in on the rain and thunderstorm activity, but along and south of I-44, getting in on a little too much rain. We're talking 2, 3 inches of rain. And while we need this rain, that's too much and too short of a time frame. We also have the possibility of a stray strong storm or two along and south of I-44 in that dark green area. We're not anticipating really any severe weather, but if we see some stronger storms, some small hail and gusty winds would be the primary threats. Now we go through today, we stay cloudy and we're still mild, just not as mild as we were yesterday. And then we head into late morning and early afternoon tomorrow where we could see a few stray showers out there ahead of the main system. They'll get here about 4 or 5 o'clock. And here right along and south of I-44, you can see where the heavier rain and thunderstorm activity is going to be. More heavy rain, more thunderstorms as we head through tomorrow evening. We get a brief break early tomorrow or Friday morning, and then we see additional showers and thunderstorms with heavy rain roll through, and maybe even a brief transition to some light snow. Not expecting a lot of snow, but it could lead to a few slick spots. MoDOT camera, 20th and Range Line, looks good. 7th and Range Line, we got some cloudy skies out there. 54 in Joplin with a west breeze at 7 miles an hour. 45 Iola, 47 Chatopa, Miami, and 52 in Neosho. As we get our day started, we'll see winds start to gust 20 to 30 miles an hour. It'll be mostly cloudy. Temperatures warming into the upper 50s, and we're looking at highs today, lower to mid 60s. Under mostly cloudy skies, winds calm down later this afternoon. We'll take a complete look at your forecast and how long the spring-like weather holds on here in a few minutes. Tanya?
All right, thanks, Chris. The Missouri Humane Society Tuesday rescues 41 dogs from a Newton County home. KOAM Shagun Bomadelli found out what started as helping animals in need turned into a challenge for one woman.
Shelby Azuma loves animals, so when she saw dogs in need, she had to take them in.
So the sheriff came, heard that there was something going on, and he wanted to see if he could assist me.
However, the dogs had babies, and it became too much.
I had a stroke, and it affected my heart. And before I moved here from Joplin, I had gotten real bad sick, and my legs had 10-degree burns.
She reached out to the Newton County Sheriff's Department looking for help. They called in the Missouri Humane Society to rescue the 41 dogs.
She basically was overwhelmed. She was not breeding these dogs to sell. They had just gotten out of hand. She was overwhelmed, told us she couldn't take care of the animals anymore and asked for our assistance.
Jennings says the dogs were not maltreated or abused.
Like I said, it was strictly a matter of she had some dogs, they bred, before she knew it, they bred, and all of a sudden she had 40-some animals. It's hard to find a home for an individual, for an individual to find a home for animals like that.
A local vet praises Azuma for asking for help. She says it is dangerous to foster a lot of dogs without proper care.
Dog has coccidia or giardia. It could get passed to the human, so like if you're in the feces or anything like that, if you're not washing your hands and touching that dog and that dog has it, then you can get it.
Azuma is happy that the dogs will go to loving homes.
So I'm grateful they came out to take care of my dog.
Reporting in Newton County, Shagun Bomadelli, KOAM News.
The Missouri Humane Society team took the animals to its headquarters in St. Louis, and the dogs will receive medical treatment before they are placed in foster homes or adoption centers. Well, springtime means storms here in the 4 states, and no one knows storm preparation like Joplin does. And with the spring season approaching, Joplin schools want to remind area residents that community safe rooms will be open at several locations throughout the district. It's in preparation in case of tornado warnings or when tornado sirens are activated. If warnings or sirens happen during school hours, students and staff will receive priority for safe room occupancy.
If we think that there's going to be an imminent tornado warning in the area, we have a procedure that we're able to activate the safe rooms throughout the district.
The district says while all school buildings in the district include safe room locations for students and staff, not all school buildings include community safe rooms. To find a full list of community safe rooms, you can download the KOAM News Now app. Freeman Health System gives patients a new way to check in to their appointments. The new online system will automate appointments through a patient's phone or computer by reminding them of upcoming appointments, allowing them to confirm or cancel with ease. Officials say this new system will save patients a lot of time.
You know, so far we ask a lot of our patients to arrive ahead of time to visits, sometimes 30 minutes to an hour ahead of time. And instead of doing that, we're able to send everything to them ahead of time. They can fill it out, complete it, and we'll get it back before they ever walk in the door.
The new system will be available at all Freeman doctors' offices and clinics. Pittsburgh State University's Multicultural Department of Student Government hosts the first faculty diversity panel to let professors share their experiences on adjusting to a new culture.
Diversity is a strength anywhere. If we have diverse faculty, the students can see somebody who is successful or one who looks like them.
KSU is holding other events highlighting diversity throughout the week. It was a year in the making, but the Joplin Police Department releases its annual report for 2022. The report details statistics from the past year, including calls for service, traffic crashes and traffic stops, crime statistics, and investigations. The JPD has provided a link on its Facebook page if you're interested in reading the full report. Well, be the first to see breaking news, weather, and sports. You can download the KOAM News app. It's available free of charge in the Apple App Store and the Google Play Store. Just search for the KOAM News app. That's a look at our top news stories coming up this half hour in the KOAM Morning News. Some experts claim 6 pairs of shoes worn by Michael Jordan during the Bulls championship dynasty in the 90s may shatter records when they go to auction.
And we've got another spring-like day ahead of us before we start to see big changes in the forecast. We're going to talk about all of that coming up.
In Consumer Watch this morning, today the Republican-led House Foreign Affairs Committee is expected to vote on a bill that would give the president the power to ban the popular app TikTok and other apps. If it passes the committee, the measure would go to the full House for a vote. It comes after the White House announced TikTok must be removed from all federal devices in the next 30 days, a move that was criticized by Chinese government officials. Some Democrats have criticized the House GOP bill as too broad. On Tuesday, the European Parliament moved to ban TikTok from staff devices. An important consumer alert about an ignition key problem that can shut down an SUV's engine while driving. Nissan is recalling more than 800,000 Rogue and Rogue Sport SUVs that have a jackknife-style ignition key. The models go back to 2014. The company says the key can collapse into a folded position and inadvertently stop the engine. Nissan says it's not aware of any crashes or injuries related to the glitch. Well, they're being compared to the Mona Lisa, the Dynasty collection. That's 6 pairs of sneakers worn by NBA legend Michael Jordan and each of the Chicago Bulls' championship wins in the 1990s. Up for sale by Sotheby's. The selling price could shatter records. The collection can be seen in person in Dubai through the end of the week. Woohoo! Well, President Biden used the COVID pandemic as a way to forgive thousands of dollars in student loan debt from millions of Americans. But some Republican-led states have sued, claiming he doesn't have the authority to do that. On Tuesday, the Supreme Court justices heard arguments for both sides of the case. Skylar Henry has more.
Students demonstrated outside the Supreme Court as justices heard arguments about the constitutionality of President Biden's program to forgive up to $20,000 in student loans for millions of Americans.
I applied immediately once it came to my email, and I saw that I was approved within a few days to a few weeks. But then it was also very disheartening to turn around to see that the Supreme Court did put a pause on that.
The conservative members of the court had questions about the president's ability to sidestep Congress in forgiving the loans.
We take very seriously the idea of separation of powers and that powers should be divided.
But the government argued the 2003 HEROES Act gives the Secretary of Education the power to waive any provisions of the student loan program in a national emergency. That argument seemed persuasive to the liberal justices.
Congress doesn't get much clearer than that. We deal with congressional statutes every day that are really confusing. This one is not.
As many as 43 million Americans could see some or all of their student loans forgiven if the court allows the program to continue. But some of the justices question whether that's fair to everyone else.
Why was it fair to the people who didn't get arguably comparable relief?
It was fair because in the absence of this relief, it's undisputed that there are going to be millions of student loan borrowers who are not going to be able to pay their student loans.
The Congressional Budget Office says the program will cost more than $430 billion. Skylar Henry, CBS News, the Supreme Court.
All right, that's it for Consumer Watch. Here's Chris with another look at your forecast.
Yeah, a quick check of what we're expecting heading into tomorrow. We've got a spring-like day for us today. Flood watches that kick in tomorrow evening, run through noon, and we are anticipating some pretty heavy rainfall across the region. All of us getting in on rain and thunderstorm activity, but along and south of I-44, that's in that 2 to 3 inch range, and that is too much rain in too little time. So if you are aware of where the low water crossings are, where the flood-prone areas are, make sure you're planning your Thursday evening commute and and Friday morning commute accordingly. We'll have more on your forecast here in a few minutes. We're also going to celebrate birthdays and anniversaries. Before we do all of that, we're going to see what's happening at CBS Mornings. And for people with impaired mobility, enjoying the great outdoors can be a special challenge. Ahead on CBS Mornings, Mark Strassman meets quadruple amputee Amy Copeland to learn more about All Terrain Georgia, a program that's making parks and trails more accessible for those with mobility challenges.
This All Terrain program, when did it start?
I realized people in wheelchairs don't want to be at a special nature park. We want to be in our community parks with our family and friends, and that's why I started All Terrain Georgia.
The new series, Pushing the Limits, looks at how the innovative program offers a front row seat to the great outdoors by offering free wheelchairs that are specially equipped to navigate rugged terrain. That's next on CBS Mornings. Time to celebrate some Wednesday birthdays here in the 4 states, and we begin with Bradley Johnson turning 7. Bradley's on the left and is a leap year baby.
All right. And we've got Colton Pingree, 7 strong as well. Says that Colton is on the right. Colton and Bradley have been friends for 4 years and officially became brothers 2 years ago. That's awesome. Love you, boys. Mom and Dad.
And we've also got Landon McCullough turning 7 strong in Edna, Kansas. Happy birthday, Landon.
All right, and Hadley Harper celebrating birthday number 10 this year in Joplin. From Papa and Grandma, we love you.
And we've got Tia Chambers celebrating birthday number 11 in Joplin. Tia also a leap year baby. It says, have a great day. Love Mama, Ronald, Mama, and all your sisters, TT and her crew.
I love it. All right, Matthew Clonch turning 11 years old this year. He's ready to swing in Chanute. Happy birthday.
And Zella Gamblian celebrating birthday number 50 in Parsons. Happy birthday, Zella.
We got a leap year anniversary here. Brandy and Glenn Green are celebrating 3 years together with love from Charity, Jamie, and all your crew.
All right, and our birthday list continues with Chris Palmer celebrating number 58 in Crestline. Happy birthday, Chris.
Dale Roughton turning 87 years old this year in Columbus, Kansas.
And Betty Lou Crossland also celebrating a birthday in Crestline.
Pam Tietzel in Columbus. Happy birthday to you.
As well as Stephen Bacon celebrating in Pittsburgh. Happy birthday, Stephen. And if it's Stephen's birthday, it's his sister's birthday as well. Frances Pyle in Pittsburgh, but she is a leap year baby. So there's a lot of leap year celebrations today.
Yeah.
So happy birthday to Stephen Bacon and Frances Pyle.
Oh, we can't celebrate them tomorrow. It'd be a day late, dollar short. Got to do it early. Tamara Thacker in Columbus. Happy birthday to you.
All right, what a great birthday list. Just absolutely incredible, all the leap year birthdays on this list. And we want to continue to celebrate with you. Tanya, is there a really easy way for people to celebrate with us?
I think there would be.
What is it? Because I always forget.
Well, all you would have to do is send us your birthdays, and it's really easy to submit them. All you have to do is email them to us at birthdays with the S, don't forget the S, at KOAMnewsnow.com, or you can go to that web link right there.
And of course, while you're on our website, whether you're submitting birthdays or checking out what's on there, make sure you take time to sign up for the KOAM Birthday Club. You get great deals from local businesses, and you get a special birthday message from your friends here at KOAM. Just head over to KOAMnewsnow.com and sign up for the birthday club today. All right, got a lot to talk about in not a lot of time, so let's get right into it. Flood watches in the green kicking in tomorrow evening, running through noon on Friday, and that is ahead of some very heavy rainfall we're expecting heading into tomorrow night and Friday morning. All of us getting in on some rain and thunderstorm activity, but along and south of I-44, that's the 2 to 3 inch range. That is too much rain in too little time, so if you're familiar with the flood-prone areas, especially south of I-44, make sure you tailor your evening commute Thursday and your morning commute Friday to that. We also have the threat of a couple of strong storms in this dark green area, once again along and south of I-44. Not anticipating much in the way of severe weather, but a strong storm or two possible with some small hail and gusty winds being the primary threats. We are cloudy through today, still mild, cooler than yesterday, but still mild. Then late Thursday morning and into the early afternoon, we could see a stray shower or two roll through, and then the main event gets going around 4 or 5 o'clock. See the showers, thunderstorms, heavy rain right along and south of I-44. Heavy rain continues into Thursday evening, a brief pause at about midnight or so, and then more showers, thunderstorms, heavy rain, and maybe even a brief transition to some light snow as we head into Friday. MoDOT camera, 20th and Range Line looks good. Check it out. Cloudy skies, not bad otherwise. At 7th and Range Line, 54 in Joplin with a west breeze at 7. We are sitting at 48 in Iola, 49 Chatopa, Miami, 52 Neosho, and 53 in Carthage. As we get our day started, we'll see the winds pick up, gusts to 20, 30 miles an hour. Temperatures into the upper 50s, and then as we head into this evening, we're looking at, this afternoon, highs lower to mid 60s, mostly cloudy skies, and the winds will begin to calm down. We'll have more in your forecast and everything else here in just a few minutes. And from the halls of Congress to the National Museum of African American History, the push is underway to promote and protect the contributions of African Americans on American history. Coming up when the KOAM Morning News switches over to Fox 14, we'll take you for a closer look at these efforts and see how these institutions are doing their parts. That's coming up when we transition over to Fox 14 at 7. And here's a look at what's happening on CBS Mornings.
Hello to you, I'm Gail King. Coming right up on CBS Mornings, we're going to talk with Marcel, the Shell creator, that's Jenny Slate, about the movie's Oscar nomination for Best Animated Feature Film. You go, Jenny Slate. That's coming right up on CBS Mornings.
Here's a check of today's top headlines, the news you need to know before you head out the door. Following a historic blizzard in the mountains of northeast of Los Angeles, there's now concern that the melting snowpack and heavy rains may trigger dangerous mudslides. San Bernardino County is under a state of emergency as residents up in the mountains are trapped in their homes. In Northern California, Sierra Nevada, major highways are shut down with a blizzard warning in effect. The jury in Alex Murdaugh's double murder trial will visit his estate today to see where Murdaugh's wife and son were shot to death in 2021. Prosecution and defense rested yesterday. They will deliver closing arguments following the trip. A sale of the property is expected to close next week for about $4 million. And a new House committee focused on China held its first hearing Tuesday night. Republican Chairman Mike Gallagher hopes the panel can allow Congress to speak with one voice as it looks to tackle the aggression by the Chinese Communist Party. Gallagher hopes to bring the committee members to Taiwan at some point. That's a check of today's top headlines, the news you need to know before you head out the door.
As you head out the door, we're not as warm as yesterday, but still mild. Highs in the lower to mid 60s. Cloudy skies, breezy this morning. The winds calm down this afternoon. As we head into this evening, we are still mostly cloudy and we'll eventually make it back down to a low of 44. We have alert days for tomorrow and Friday for thunderstorms, heavy rain, and maybe some light snow Friday. We have flooding concerns, and that's why we have those alert days, so do be careful out there. And we stay mild all the way through Tuesday with a beautiful Sunday and some additional showers Monday and Tuesday of next week.
Well, coming up today at noon, we're making Alabama firecrackers in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen.
Sounds hazardous. We'll have to see what they are, won't we? You have to tune in at noon.
Sounds spicy to me.
It does. And your morning news, of course, continues on KOAM with CBS Mornings. An exclusive investigation into a dental device that some patients say has caused serious damage to their teeth. That's coming up on CBS Mornings.
Or you can switch on over with us on Fox 14, where your only local morning news continues. And this morning, Adavan Scrantz from the K-State Extension Service is stopping by our studio to tell us all about an upcoming sheep and goat marketing workshop.
We got a lot of stuff coming up. That's going to do it for now. We'll see you back here tomorrow morning at 5 a.m.
We'll do it again today at noon.